Welcome to my presentation on how shape coding can help with developmental language disorders. Let's start with what is a developmental language disorder? According to the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, developmental language disorder is a communication disorder that interferes with learning, understanding, and using language. These language difficulties are not explained by other conditions such as hearing loss or autism, or by extenuating circumstances such as a lack of exposure to language. DLD can affect a child's speaking, listening, reading, and writing. The exact cause is unknown, but it seems to be a complex interaction between genes and the environment. DLD can have significant impact on academic and social development, and a range of difficulties often persists well into adolescence and adulthood. What is shape coding? Shape coding is a program designed by an SLP, Dr. Susan Ebels, to teach spoken and written grammar to school-age children with DLD. It is designed primarily for school-age children. It uses visual coding system to show the rules for how words are put together in sentences to develop the child's understanding and use of grammar so that they can communicate more effectively. The primary focus is oral language, but it can also be used to develop written language. The system includes using shapes for syntactic structures, colors for parts of speech, and arrows for tense and other aspects. Past tense and shape coding. Past tense is represented by a hexagon, which represents the verb tense, a blue arrow. A blue arrow can be pointing left down to depict the orthographic representation for each of the possible ed allomorphs, as in d, t, and ed. The efficacy of an explicit intervention approach to improve past tense marking of early school-age children with developmental language disorders is the article I used to determine if shape coding was beneficial to DLD students learning past tense. They used a crossed-over randomized control trial that involved 21 children with DLD ages 5 to 6. The experiment included 4 tests: their initial testing, the pre-testing before intervention, post-intervention testing, and a 5-week maintenance testing. The intervention they used was shape coding, and they did it over a course of 10 weeks. The results showed a significant difference between the intervention group and the control group. After that one was done, the control group went through intervention, and they also improved after intervention. Both groups maintained gains after the maintenance period, although there was a little drop. It wasn't significant. The research article I read talking about adjectives was titled "Supporting Adjective Learning by Children with Developmental Language Disorders, Enhancing and Meta-Linguistic Approaches." This article wasn't a controlled-based experiment, but a compilation of other research and knowledge of DLD and how shape coding is effective on teaching adjectives. Here is some of the information I learned. Typical developing children by 2.5 years old will know 600 words, and 10% will be adjectives. By the time they're 3, they will have a wide range of adjectives that include the knowledge of size, physical properties, color, and subjective perspective. However, children with DLD struggle with morphology, syntax, and vocabulary. Not a lot of studies on adjectives in DLD have been done. Some studies that have been done have determined when children with DLD are learning adjectives benefit from a repeated spaced retrieval method. Children with DLD have more knowledge of what nouns mean than what adjectives mean. Overall, further studies need to be done. What adjectives look like in shape coding? Adjectives are green words in a cloud shape. They answer what and how you feel questions. Some other things that are taught with adjectives in shape coding are where adjectives can appear, what forms adjectives can take, and what adjectives mean. In conclusion, even though both research on adjectives and past tense was done differently to determine if shape coding is beneficial to children with DLD, they both show promise in helping children improve the spoken and written language. Past tense was shown by its results in the initial intervention group and when the control group received intervention. The research on adjective shows us this by how shape coding program teaches adjectives and comparing that to children with DLD struggle with when it comes to adjectives. However, further study is needed to be done to truly show the benefits of shape coding on DLD. When it comes to adjectives, we need some evidence-based controlled studies. Past tense has multiple evidence-based studies, but these can be replicated and performed on a larger scale.